Hi, I'm Derek Fields. I am the Atlassian Practice Manager for RightStar Systems. RightStar is a platinum partner of Atlassian, specializing in the implementation of Atlassian software with a special focus on DevOps. We help our clients to become more mature, more successful DevOps organizations. This is the second of 4 videos that we've created to talk about how DevOps can help your organization to deliver software more efficiently with higher quality and faster and at lower cost using Atlassian tools. In today's video, we're going to talk about the planning part of DevOps, but with a special focus on how we manage the DevOps process. Now let me set the table by going back a little bit to what we talked about in the first video by talking about what do we mean when we talk about DevOps. In our case, we mean people, process, and tools. So we want to think beyond just the tools or just the processes to think about the people part, because that's the most important aspect of getting DevOps right. You need a culture that will support the vision that you have for your DevOps organization. You need to have transparency. You need to have ownership, and you need to have a culture of cooperation, collaboration, and empowerment. So with respect to DevOps, we're looking at cultures that are going to allow us then to implement quickly, to experiment, and to continually improve. Now, when we talk about processes, in the case of today's video, we're going to focus on things that have to do with agile processes, specifically around Scrum and Kanban. We're going to look at how Jira helps us to implement Scrum and Kanban processes that are essential for being successful in DevOps. And of course, for tools, we're going to look specifically at Jira. Now, just to go back a little bit and remind ourselves of what the DevOps cycle is, I want to bring up the slide that I showed in the first video, and you'll see that DevOps consists of this cycle of planning, building, continuous integration, deployment, operations, and the continuous feedback that allows us to continually improve our processes. Today we're going to go back and look at planning again, but this time instead of talking about how we develop requirements and collaborate on them, we're going to talk about how we use Jira to manage the overall DevOps lifecycle. We're going to look at how this tool will enable us to enforce processes, to create collaboration, to open up and be transparent to everyone who has a stake in the delivery of this software. So let's go ahead and take a look at Jira. When we start, we're going to look at our dashboard. This is just a sample dashboard. As you can see, I've set it up for this particular sprint. In this case, our sprint has 2 days remaining before it completes. Our sprint health says that we've got 74% of the time available has elapsed and we've only accomplished 43% of the work. So this is an easy way for perhaps a manager, an executive, a scrum master, or a product owner to get a quick understanding of where we stand with respect to this particular scrum. And finally, we can look at our burn down chart and see how we're doing. As you can see, we've added several stories, something we typically don't like to do in Scrum, but something that may have been necessary and in fact is going to be necessary as we look at the specifics of our example today. Now let's go ahead and dive right into our Scrum board. And we're going to see here the backlog view. And what we see in this particular view is a series of stories that have been assigned to our Sprint 2. You can see that there are 3 here that are still in progress and 3 that have not been accomplished. And then we have a backlog of various stories that we want to complete. For the purpose of our demo, we're going to go ahead and pull one up. We're going to say that our product owner has indicated that the manager report is their top priority. It is something that may be cropped up after we started the sprint, and we're going to do something that we don't normally like to do, but for purposes of the demo, we're going to go ahead and put it into our current sprint. So we're going to go ahead and drag and drop it right in here. I've got a little warning that my sprint is going to be affected by the fact that I've now added a new story to it. And here's the new story. Again, what we're doing is we're providing transparency to our entire organization. Now they know there is a new story. I might want to put a comment into this story, which I can do right here. I can say, this report was requested by our CIO and must be done in this sprint. So now I have some traceability again as to why we have chosen to incorporate this into our sprint. Now we're going to look at the sprint board, which allows us to see how we move an issue from the to-do phase over to in progress and then done. So again, I want to empower my developers to be able to look at what the most important story is. In this case, we're going to say that my manager report is the most important, and I'm going to come along and say, I'm going to work on this. I am now available, and so I'm going to drag it right into in progress. And by dragging it into in progress, it is now indicated that I am working on this, and as you can see, I can assign this to me. I can tell everybody that I'm the one who's going to work on this particular story. And then I can further drag it over into the done column when I complete the story to indicate that I have completed it, that all of my tests have passed, that it's ready to be deployed. Or if for some reason I did not do that correctly, I can take it and drag it right back into the in progress column, again, indicating that something has changed. Now, one of the things that Jira does for me as a Scrum Master or as a development manager is it gives me a history of everything that has happened with this particular ticket, so that as I am trying to manage the workload of my team, I'm trying to understand how stories are going to be implemented, that I can pull up that audit log and see exactly what has happened, when it's happened, how long it took to move from to-do to in progress, and so on. So this, again, gives me the ability to manage the overall process that I'm working in. At the end of my sprint, I'm going to want to be able to look back at statistics to be able to help me to identify what are my backlogs, what are the areas that we might be able to improve, what are the things that we can do better so that in the next sprint or the one after that, we're going to be able to develop and implement these stories even more swiftly, with greater quality, at a lower cost. Now, one of the things that we want to talk about a little bit is that Jira enables not only the use of Scrum and sprints as a methodology, but also Kanban. And I would suggest to you, if you're thinking about DevOps, that the most mature DevOps organizations are no longer working so much within a Scrum methodology as they have been starting to adopt a Kanban methodology. And a Kanban methodology is essentially looks like this without the time boxing of sprints. And Jira will support this as well. Now, why do I say that high-functioning DevOps organizations are using Kanban? The reason for that is because we want to start moving out of artificial time-boxed limitations, and we want developers to be able to pick up exactly the next story, work on it from beginning to end without a stop, and then deliver it. And what we're going to talk about in the next video is how a developer actually works with a particular story from the time they pick it up off of the requirements to the time they actually implement it. How do we make use of some of the tools such as distributed version control supported by Atlassian's Bitbucket in order to make the implementation smooth and effective, quick, but also to maintain high quality? So as we look back at Jira, we're going to again see in our next video how Jira helps us to manage that process, how it connects into Bitbucket and our distributed version control system to support our overall DevOps goals. So I appreciate you spending some time with me today, looking at how Jira can help you to manage your DevOps processes and how you might be able to start thinking about improving your own organization's functionality.